Have you ever felt like life is unfairly harder for you? Like no matter how righteous your choices, how sincere your prayers, how faithful your walk, the road still cuts deeper, hurts longer, weighs heavier? Do you ever look around and wonder, why me, Lord? Why does it seem like I carry a burden no one else can see? If your soul has whispered these questions in the dark, if your tears have stained the pillow while heaven stayed silent, you might not be broken. You might be chosen. There's a spiritual reason behind the storms you face. Not everyone carries the same fire. Not every soul has been set apart. What if I told you? The pain you feel isn't punishment, it's purpose. That the trials, the rejections, the loneliness, they aren't curses. They're evidence. Divine fingerprints on your life. The enemy doesn't chase the ordinary. He hunts the anointed. And if you've been feeling under attack, it's because your calling threatens hell itself. This message is for those who pray in silence, serve without applause, and wonder why the path keeps getting steeper. In the next few minutes, you'll discover 5 hidden pains that only God's chosen endure. And more importantly, you'll learn why you face them. You'll see that your suffering isn't senseless. It's sacred. It's shaping something eternal in you. So, before you scroll away, ask yourself, what if this message is the confirmation you've been praying for? What if the reason behind your hardship isn't that God has left you, but that He's preparing you for something so much greater? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you won't just understand your pain. You'll understand your purpose, and that changes everything. Have you ever looked around and wondered, where did everyone go? That friend who used to check in weekly. That sibling who once called just to say I love you. Those co-workers who laughed with you, shared lunch, shared life, and now? Silence, distance, coldness you never saw coming. You search your heart, replay the conversations. Ask yourself, did I do something wrong? But the truth pierces deeper than you imagined. You didn't change, your light did. Rejection, it doesn't knock. It barges in. It walks into your life without warning and tears people away without explanation. One day, they're by your side. The next, they vanish. Their absence lingers like a ghost. And the pain? It's not loud. It's quiet. It creeps into the corners of your heart at midnight. It whispers, you're too much. You're too different. You're too intense. But here's what they never told you in Sunday. School the chosen are rejected first. Why? Because your presence carries a holy weight. You don't need to preach a word. Just your essence unsettles the atmosphere. Your life convicts. Your peace irritates chaos. Your faith shakes lukewarm spirits. And that makes people uncomfortable. You shine light on what others would rather keep hidden. Your very existence is a mirror, and some hearts are not ready to look. Think about it. Even Jesus, the spotless lamb, was rejected. Not by strangers, by his own, his family, his community. Isn't this just the carpenter's son? They sneered. If the Son of God was cast aside, what makes us think we'll be embraced by all? Still, it hurts, doesn't it? Being misunderstood, left out, left behind. Rejection bruises in places no eye can see. But here's the miracle behind the wound. God uses rejection to redirect. He removes those who can't walk your pace. He clears the space for what's coming next. People can't go where your calling is taking you. And sometimes that hurts more than words can say. You'll start to notice the pattern. Rejection shows up when you're drawing closer to God. When you start fasting, praying more deeply, breaking habits you've carried for years. That's no coincidence. That's spiritual warfare. That's a holy pruning. God is not punishing you, as protecting you. The pain you feel today is God's way of saying, they can't go with you where I'm taking you. And yes, it's lonely. Yes, it feels unfair. You bless those who've hurt you. You still pray for them. You love from a distance, even as your heart aches. But this distance, it's divine. It gives you space to grow, space to hear God more clearly, space to become who He called you to be. Let me say it plainly, you are not being punished. You're being prepared. God is shaping you to lead, to intercede, to walk a path most will never understand. And leaders? They face rejection before they ever find recognition. Prophets are ridiculed long before they're respected. You're not crazy. You're called. And his calling? It carries a cost. So stop chasing what God has already removed. Don't reopen doors he has locked shut. Don't force your way back into circles that shrink your spirit. Trust this process, because one day soon, you'll look back and thank God for every goodbye, every slammed door, every friendship that faded without reason. You see, the rejection of man is often the approval of heaven, and heaven's yes is worth every earthly no. Have you ever been in a room full of people and still felt completely alone? Have you ever smiled, nodded, played the part while inside you were drowning in silence? This isn't just isolation. It's something deeper, heavier, sacred. It's the loneliness of the chosen. Not everyone will understand your calling. Not everyone is meant to. There are visions inside you that would sound like madness to others. Dreams so bold, so radical, they'd laugh if you dared speak them. So instead you stay quiet. You shrink. You swallow the fire burning in your chest. And that silence? It becomes your companion. But here's the truth: your loneliness is not a curse. It's preparation. Purposeful, divine, and deeply personal. God is separating you for something eternal. Something that only you can carry. Let me ask you, how do you explain to others that you're burdened by things they can't even see? Though while they talk about gas prices and politics, your heart weeps over lost souls. Though when they joke about retirement, you're weeping in prayer for a revival that hasn't come yet. You live on a different frequency. Your spirit hears whispers others miss. You see storms before they form. You feel warfare in atmospheres that others call peace. You don't just believe, you discern. And that kind of vision comes with a weight. It's the reason you can't sleep sometimes. Why you cry and don't even know why. Why joy feels distant. Why worship sometimes turns into weeping. It's because God has placed a burden on your spirit. A mantle. And with that mantle comes the ache of solitude. Jesus knew it well. In Gethsemane, he asked his closest friends to stay awake to pray. But they slept, while he sweated blood. Even the Son of God walked through a loneliness no human could fix. Father, if it be your will, take this cup. Do you hear the heartbreak in that prayer? Chosen ones walk a path few will ever understand. You're called to pray when others play, to fast when others feast, to walk alone when others gather. Not because you're unwanted, but because you're marked, set apart, designed to carry a glory too heavy for the crowd. And it's hard, isn't it? To celebrate miracles no one saw, to overcome battles no one knew you were fighting, to hold in your chest the weight of nations while your phone stays silent. But listen carefully, you are not alone in this aloneness. The same God who called Abraham out, the same God who left Moses in the desert, the same God who met Paul in prison is with you in that empty room, that quiet car ride, that midnight prayer. And in that silence, his voice grows clearer, his presence deeper, his love louder. Your loneliness is birthing something. It's a womb, not a tomb. It's not the end. It's the beginning. It's where leaders are formed, where prophets are molded, where revival begins in secret places with hidden people. So don't despise this season. Don't curse the silence. Lean in, because while others may not understand your pain, heaven does. The one who knit you together sees every tear, every ache, every sleepless night. And one day, yes, one day others will come. They'll sit across from you, broken by the same kind of loneliness. And you'll smile, reach out, and say, I've been there. I know. You're not crazy. You're not forgotten. You're chosen. Let the world misunderstand you. Let them walk away, because God is drawing near, and that is more than enough. Have you ever questioned your own heart, even while loving God? Have you ever stood in worship, hands lifted high, yet felt a tug of shame inside you? Have you ever asked yourself, why do I still struggle, even though I know the truth? If you have, you're not weak. You're not broken. You're in the middle of a battle that most can't even see. This isn't just temptation. It's war, spiritual warfare. And it's not out there, it's happening inside you. In your thoughts, your desires, your private decisions. The battlefield isn't always the world. Sometimes it's your own soul. You wake up ready to pray, but your mind drifts. You open the Bible, but your heart feels numb. You commit to fasting, but the cravings hit harder than ever. Why? Because the moment you draw near to God, hell draws near to you. The enemy doesn't waste resources on the lukewarm. He targets those who carry fire. The greater your calling, the more precise the attack. He doesn't tempt you randomly. He strikes where you're most anointed. If you're called to speak, he'll send gossip. If you're called to lead, he'll stir up pride. If you're called to worship, he'll turn purity into performance. Sound familiar? And the worst part? You see others who seem at peace, who walk through life without this weight. You ask, what's wrong with me? But beloved, the presence of this battle doesn't mean you're failing. It means your spirit is still alive, still fighting, still responding to God's voice. If you felt nothing, that would be far worse. Even the Apostle Paul wrote these haunting words, I do not do the good I want, but the evil I do not want is what I keep on doing. And he didn't write that as a young believer. He wrote it after years of ministry, years of walking closely with Christ. So why does the fight never stop? Because your flesh never gives up, but neither does the spirit. And as long as you're still in the game, still in the process, still in the press, it means God is not done with you. But let's be honest, the guilt that follows failure, it's unbearable sometimes. You feel like you let God down. Again, and again, and again. The enemy whispers, see, you'll never change. You're a hypocrite. God's disappointed in you. But the truth, the real, biblical, blood-bought truth, God sees you trying, and he's not ashamed of you. You were never called to perfection. You were called to authenticity, not to hide your scars, but to let grace shine through them. Not to deny the battle, but to fight it and keep fighting. And when you fall, get back up. Every time. Because God isn't counting how many times you fall. He's watching how many times you rise. This battle refines you. It humbles you. It makes you more dependent, more aware, more surrendered. And in that surrender, God meets you. Again and again. So the next time you feel that tug of war inside, you don't run from it. Don't drown in shame. Lift your eyes and say, Lord, I still choose you. Because the chosen are not the perfect. They're the persistent. The ones who fall but never quit. The ones who cry but still worship. The ones who war within but keep walking forward. And that's you. You're not disqualified. You're not forgotten. You're not failing. You are chosen. And the battle within you, it's not a sign of defeat. It's the evidence that you're still in the fight. And grace is still holding you together. Have you ever felt God whisper, let it go, and your heart broke in silence? Have you ever looked at something good, something stable, safe, even holy, and heard the Lord say, this is not for you? That kind of surrender doesn't come easy. It cuts deep. It empties rooms you wanted full. It ends chapters you weren't ready to close. And it leaves you staring at an invisible road with trembling hands and tear-stained prayers. Renunciation, a word we don't often preach about, but one every chosen soul must walk through. Because the higher the calling, the heavier the cost. You cannot carry his glory with full hands. You must lay something down. It usually begins small. A TV show that once felt harmless now feels hollow. A song that once lifted your mood now grieves your spirit. A conversation that once entertained now feels out of place. You begin to notice the shift. Your spirit grows sensitive. Things that used to be fine now feel like thorns in your side. That's not legalism. That's growth. But then the real tests come. God starts pointing to things that aren't sinful, but they're no longer part of your path. A friendship that's been with you for decades. A career you've built brick by brick. A city that holds your childhood. A romantic connection that feels right but doesn't carry the same vision. And you ask, why, Lord? Why this? Why now? Because what blesses others may burden you. What works for the crowd may weaken the called. You're not like everyone else. You've been set apart. And with that divine distinction comes a sacred dilemma, the pain of letting go of what feels good to receive what is God. Abraham felt it when God said, leave your land, your family, your father's house. Moses felt it when he turned his back on Egypt's luxury. Paul felt it when he counted his success as loss for the sake of Christ. They didn't walk away from sin. They walked away from comfort, security, familiarity. And so will you. But hurts. Deeply. Letting go of people who feel like home. Walking away from plans that took you years to build. Saying no to doors others would kill to walk through. It feels like loss. Because it is. But in God's hands, loss always leads to life. Renunciation isn't rejection. It's realignment. It's pruning. And yes, pruning feels like death. But it's making room for fruit you haven't seen yet. God's math works through subtraction. He removes the good to make space for the greater. You may have to downsize your lifestyle. Invest more in ministry than in luxury. Choose purpose over promotion. While others buy new cars, you fund Bibles for missions. While others plan beach vacations, you plan church outreaches. And the world may not understand your choices. But heaven does. Heaven sees. Heaven keeps receipts. Because every no to the world is a yes to God. Every tear of surrender is a seed in eternity. Every goodbye is an open door to a better beginning. And here's the truth many give up here. Many grow bitter in this season. They compare. They ask, why do they get to keep what I had to lose? But chosen ones understand. Different callings demand different sacrifices. You're not called to blend in. You're called to stand apart. And the hardest renunciation of all, your own will, your control, your timing, your ego. As John the Baptist said, he must increase. I must decrease. That's not a quote. That's a lifestyle. That's the cry of a surrendered soul. So if you're in a season of letting go, if your hands feel empty and your heart feels bruised, remember this. You are not losing. You are aligning. And the reward on the other side of this pain is beyond what your mind can grasp. Because when God asks you to release, it's only because his hands are already reaching to give you something greater. Have you ever felt like time forgot you? Like the promises God once whispered are now just fading echoes? You pray, you wait, you believe, but nothing moves. Days blur into weeks, weeks into months, years pass, and still nothing. No breakthrough, no open door, no sign that heaven is listening. And deep inside, a question begins to burn. Did God change his mind about me? This is the pain. No one warns you about the silence of God. The waiting room of destiny. The place where faith feels like standing still. You've obeyed. You've surrendered. You've said yes 1,000 times. And yet the promise seems further than ever. And that ache? It's real. It's deep. It keeps you up at 2 a.m. It steals your appetite. It drains your laughter. Because how do you explain to others that you're still holding on to something invisible? That while others have retirement plans, you're still waiting on a word? You scroll through social media. You see friends getting promoted, families taking vacations, testimonies of sudden miracles. And you wonder, what about me? Did I miss it? Did I hear him wrong? But listen closely, delay is not denial. Silence is not abandonment. God may be quiet, but he is not absent. Every chosen one has faced this wilderness. Joseph had a dream at 17, then spent years forgotten in a prison cell. David was anointed as king, then ran for his life. Even Jesus waited 30 years before stepping into his mission. Waiting doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. Sometimes it means you're doing everything right. Because here's the truth. God develops in silence what he will reveal in power. The delay is divine. The stillness is strategic. He's not just preparing the blessings, preparing you to carry it. But it's hard, isn't it? You sit in church. You hear God is faithful, but your heart whispers, then why does it feel like I've been forgotten? You lift your hands. You sing. But inside, it's a battlefield of doubt. You wonder if the promise was real, if the calling still stands, if the anointing has faded. You're not alone. Heaven sees it all. There's a danger in this season, a temptation to force the promise, to create results with your own hands. Just like Abraham did with Hagar, just like Saul did when he rushed the offering. When God takes too long, the flesh tries to speed things up. But manufactured blessings always carry hidden consequences. You don't need to fake it. You don't need to make it happen. All you need to do is remain faithful. Because what God started in you, he will finish. Not on your schedule, but on his perfect timing. Let others rush. Let them run. Let them post their progress. You're not on their clock. You're on heaven's calendar. And God is never late. So if you're tired, if your soul is weary, if the silence feels suffocating, take heart. You're not buried. You are planted. And what's been planted in secret will soon rise in power. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. And when your moment comes, when the door finally swings open, every silent prayer, every tear, every long night, it will all make sense. You'll see that God wasn't punishing you. He was preparing you. You'll realize that what looked like a delay was divine design. Hold on, chosen one. The wait is almost over. And when it comes, it will be worth it all. Let me ask you this: have your tears ever fallen where no one could see? Have you ever whispered, "Lord, I can't do this anymore," into the silence of your pillow, and wondered if heaven even heard? Have you walked through fire, carried burdens no one noticed, felt the weight of calling while the world kept moving? If you have, you're not broken. You're not crazy. You were chosen. Your rejection wasn't random. Your loneliness wasn't a mistake. Your battles, your losses, your silent nights, they were not wasted. They were tools in the hands of a holy potter. Tools used to shape strength, to carve depth, to press glory into the core of your being. Because the chosen don't walk easy paths. They walk meaningful ones. You see, while others chase applause, you've chased purpose. While the world settles for shallow, you've been called into the deep. You've cried prayers no one else understood, fought wars no one else saw, and you've stayed when others walked away. But here's the secret. Every tear was counted. Every silent yes written in heaven's book. Every loss an investment in eternity. So what now? Will you give up here? Will you silence your calling just to fit in? Will you trade eternal purpose for temporary peace? Or will you rise? Because the best is yet to come. And when it does, every tear, every rejection, every sleepless night will become your testimony. Every door that shut will prove it was God's redirection. Every no you endured will become the echo of heaven's yes. You're not done. You're being revealed. Hold on. Heaven is closer than it feels. And one day, you'll say it was worth it all.